What's up, people? Ever gone to look into what to buy for a tech deck and then just been overwhelmed and stuck with your standard tech deck that comes out of your plastic package? If so, hopefully this video will help you out on figuring out what you need to improve your skills with the tech deck board. Alright, I apologize for the bedhead, but definitely not worth waking my wife up in order to comb my hair, so we're going to do it like this today. Here I have a few examples. I have, adjust the camera down just a little bit so you can see them. I have a standard tech deck right here, and we're going to be talking about the parts from the top down. So we have our grip tape, we have our deck, we have our trucks and bushings, which I kind of consider one part, and we have our wheels. Okay, so when it comes to grip tape, first things first, your easiest, most expensive option would be to buy a Pro Series board from Tech Deck. It's the best high-end board out there in my opinion. And just use the parts it comes with because they're foam grip tape. It's very nice, grips well, you'll get used to it quick. It breaks in after a little bit and you'll be doing great tricks in no time. Next up is going to be teak tuning grip tape, which is $7 a strip, a complete rip-off. So if you want this stuff, you better commit because it's hard to put on. It's just wide enough for your board, so do not make any mistakes. It's like putting on a screen protector for your phone. If you make a mistake, it's going in the trash, and it's $7. So don't mess up. I took my time with it, but it is good grip tape. It's worth the $7 if you install it right first time. I suggest buying a cheaper roll of grip tape like this to practice. This was on Amazon. It was a door. I think it was advertised as a door padding, and it was recommended in the community, but it peels off. You can apply it to your decks and use it as foam grip tape. It's actually pretty nice. I recommend starting with that before you do the teak one, because this is $7. This was $10 for a whole roll, and it was much bigger. I've been using it for other stuff around the house too. So that's probably where you want to start budget-wise for grip tape to upgrade from your stock. Either $10 roll of this gets you a lot. I don't know how much you need, really. You're only going to need a few. Teak, $7, or buy a board that's expensive, but it's going to include a very high-end grip tape, and the price is really worth it, guys. When you start breaking it down, we'll talk about all the pricing. Alright, decks. This might be the most confusing part of picking a board. Plastic versus wood. Does it matter to me? I don't think so. I think you can get as much pop out of plastic as you can out of the wood, but generally the wooden boards have a shape to them. It has a kick tail versus a nose tail. These plastic boards are universal. They're just asymmetrical. So these wooden boards have a better shape. They tend to pop a little better. I think if you're used to the plastic, I have a plastic board I use on the regular. It's also good because really this is down to what feels comfortable for you. Now, the next part of boards, besides just wood and plastic, is the size. So this is a 34 millimeter board. This is a 32 millimeter board. This is also a 34, 32. This one is a 29. And if you look at the old school ones, let me go grab one for you real quick. I'm pretty sure these old decks are 25 millimeters, so the thickness this way is a big difference. So as you can see, 32 versus 25 right there. These are the old, I think these were made in 2000s, but you can see huge difference in the size of the board. They're both still the same length, but huge difference in the width. It makes a big difference for when you're doing your tricks. The more area you have to grab, the more you have to flip. I think it's easier to start with larger boards. I think the 34 millimeters is the way to go. I think some people use the 32 because they're easier on ramps, they're easier on rails. That's why I use a 32 millimeter, because I think it's a little bit better for certain tricks. But when you're starting out, bigger is better. Wood is good. get something with a good shape. These budget boards right here, the Performance Series, they come, I swapped the trucks, but they come with a urethane type wheel or a rubberized wheel. It's not your standard plastic, it's nicer. They come with performance bushings in there, the wooden deck with not as much shape to it, but it's okay. And the foam grip tape for $15, guys. This, if you are like, I want to try stepping into a little bit better of a board, get a Performance Series Tech Deck. They're going to steer you in the right direction. You're going to see what you like. And then maybe you'll splurge on this, or maybe you'll build something custom. You never know. Alright, we're going to go to trucks next. So there's good trucks, and there's bad trucks. That's really what it comes down to. Make sure when you buy trucks, you get the same size trucks as you do your board. Because if you buy a 34mm board and put 32mm trucks on it, or you buy a 29mm board and you put 34mm trucks on it, it's not going to work right. So if you have a 34mm board, 34mm trucks. Bushings. Bushings are so important. So these base bushings are replacements by GDK. Shout out GDK. They make great products on eBay. And the top bushings are the soft stock bushings that came with it, but they're about shot. You can see that I have, again, more performance bushings in the bottom of this one, and the softer bushings. So you're going to have 4 options when it comes to bushings. Trucks, it's trucks and bushings, okay? Really make sure the trucks are the right size. Make sure that this pin right here, this is the good type of truck, right? It's going to grind because it's got a flat pin head. So when you grind it on an edge, it doesn't catch. This is the old school bad type where the bolt goes onto a pin, and this is called what I think it's called I can't remember, but it's got a specific type of name, the bolt in there, versus this one where you can see that the male part is on the end. So when you grind on something, hear that click? That's the board catching on that bolt. So in these, they're lowered. The bolt head is up there instead of the male part of the bolt, like on these older ones, and it grinds nicely. So when going for trucks, right size, you want to get the ones with the, I think it's called a T-bolt. I want to say it's a T-bolt. Don't quote me on it, guys. And then if you have the extra money, which I recommend not going to Teak, I recommend going to eBay for this. Buy yourself a bushings kit, because the spring makes a huge difference in the pop on your tricks. So I can't express enough when you try to flip one of these. You know, you gotta actually use force. You see how I'm like forcing the board over, so it's less accurate because I have to put a ton of force into it. But when the trucks pop for you, you know, sorry, first one. But there you go. When the trucks pop for you and the board pops back into place, you can see how much spring there is. Really helps a lot. Alright, we got the bottom, the last part of the board, but I also think is one of the integral parts. I mean, grip tape's most important, but then when it comes to wheels and trucks and the deck, I mean, honestly, all those things matter, and as you upgrade them, you're going to notice. So when it comes to the wheels, we got right here the basic plastic bead wheels that come with your tech decks. They're garbage. Your board slides around everywhere. Doesn't really grip anything. It's terrible. But it's what you got to start with. It's what I recommend starting with, because when you land your first kickflip with one of these, it's very gratifying. Then when you move up, it just gets easier. So then the next set of wheels that we have here are polyurethane CNC bearing wheels that I got off of eBay for, I want to say, $3 or $4 shipped from China. They took 2 months to get here, but they were the right price. So these ones, a little more grip, as you can see. They don't slide quite as easily, but they're still slippery compared to the next ones up, which are these came off this Performance Series deck. So these trucks and these wheels came off a Performance Series tech deck, and they are very grippy, guys. They are like almost rubberized, it feels. I think it's polyurethane, but it could be something else. Tech deck doesn't really disclose as much as what's in there, but it grips hard. So it's a little bit more grippy, but definitely one step up from, I would say, these CNC'd wheels, because it'll help you get your tricks down. If it's more grippy, you get more of like a pop in your, and a pivot in your pops. So last but not least is your $40 CNC urethane with a marked hardness, guys. These are the ones that when you Google, you're like, why are they $30, $40? Well, they shouldn't be $30 or $40. Teak Tuning just outsources to China and upmarks everything. But point aside, they are worth investing in if you have the money, because they make a big difference. So where you're first going to notice is the slide. These will not slide unless you want them to. As soon as you let up a little bit of force, like I'm pressing pretty hard, and they're not going to slide. But as soon as I let up, I get a slide out of it, and you can hear it. It's a weird noise it makes, but they are really good wheels, and they're hard, and the hardness scale will be on the wheels, especially with these more expensive ones. These ones are 61D, they come in 71D, 77D, and they also come in different shapes. If you've gotten that far into modifying your tech deck, you're kind of on your own at that point. The best advice I can give you is that, of course, the lower the hardness number, so 61D is going to be a softer wheel than a 77. I like the 61D. They have just the right amount of grip for me. Some people like the 77, and that's probably better for if you're doing stuff with like park setups. So you don't need these wheels. These wheels will not make much of a difference, period, in the performance of your board. Your tricks won't get any better. They're a little heavier, so your board moves actually a bit slower on rotation, because the CNC urethane is quite denser. So they really, you gotta know what you're doing, but it actually slows your tricks down a little bit. But it is buttery smooth. It opens up new slide tricks. It opens up new types of grind tricks, because the wheels are so forgiving and are actually they're good material. But it fits me. I had to was starting from square one watching this video. What would I do? I would buy a Tech Deck Performance Series. Again, it comes with these trucks with bushings already in there. You don't need to replace the Pro Series bushings, guys. They're fine. You might have to replace other bushings, but the Pro Series ones are pretty good. Then it comes with the rubberized, I think, urethane wheels. I don't know what they are. With the wooden shaped deck and the foam grip tape. That is my humble recommendation for if you're starting new. Get a Performance Series board. I saw them on Barnes & Noble's website for $15 each. If you get more than, I think, $40 worth, they are free shipping, but I know local stores have them around, not in my area, but maybe in yours. So give it a check, see what's up. But really, I hope I helped you out, and I hope it makes you able to make a more informed decision on when you're making purchases, because the world of fingerboarding is wild. You have so many parts, you have so many different options, and I know it overwhelmed me when I started. So the one last thing actually I should mention are these pivot cup covers that I got from, again, GDK off of Amazon. Sorry, not Amazon. I got them off of eBay. Gotta stop plugging Amazon like that. They make a pretty big difference in these rounded boards. As you can see, I got a white set in here, because these trucks tend to have a little bit of sway in them, because the metal pin doesn't sit right in there on it. And I always put a pivot cup on there, because it keeps them from moving back and forth as much. They don't have as much wobble like you can see on this one. See how that wobbles back and forth? It's because that pivot cup has given there, so it's going to move back and forth in its housing like that. Opposed to this, where you put the pivot cup on and it's basically not going anywhere. So, alright guys, hope it helped you out. Like and subscribe. Stuff's flying everywhere. If you enjoyed, and if you didn't, dislike it. Let me know why you didn't. I hope I helped you out, and if I steered anybody wrong, let me know. Take care.